Okay, I should know how to invite. Tell me. Yes. Okay, so she should be joining us any second now. And I'm going to keep it short and sweet, to be honest. I'm going to keep it short and sweet. Hi, everybody that's joining.
Hi!
Hi, Mel. How are you doing?
I'm fantastic. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. I'm good. I was just saying that your episode this week on the podcast, everybody who's heard it has already told me this is exactly what they needed to hear. And so I'm so grateful that you've given us another 10 minutes of your time. I hope you don't mind, but I really just want to dive straight in so that for anyone who's joining us, they're just going to get what they need.
Let's go.
Yeah, how are you doing? How are you
You
doing?
lead, I'll follow. How about that? I am super excited. I'm super excited at how amazingly just powerful our conversation was. And especially what you guys don't know is, first of all, she was a freaking genius because we were having all kinds of like techie glitch issues. And she just kept going. We're like, we'll sit together. We'll send you the audio. It'll be all good. And so you were a superstar.
Oh, well, thank you. I mean, you make it easy. But yeah, the episode was absolutely amazing. So if you haven't already, then please, after this, go ahead and listen to that. But what I wanted to ask you about, Mel, is I'm going to just stick to one thing. And that is, after the last year, 18 months, I've been having a lot of conversations with women. And, it doesn't exclude men, but a lot of the women in my life, mothers, entrepreneurs, A-type, high achieving people that work hard and they're always trying to do their best. But I think this idea of perfection and turning up and saying, okay, I'm going to look great when I've got to drop off the kids and I'm going to do the Zoom things and I'm going to show up for this and show up for that. And the house has got to be tidy and, everything's got to be done on time. And I've got to get enough sleep and I've got to work out and I've got to eat right.
God, you're
And
making me exhausted. I need to take a nap right now just hearing all of this. Are you kidding me?
it all
Wow.
exhausted. And I think this idea of, like I say, perfectionism and constantly being like, we have to do everything to our absolute best means we are all exhausted. So that is what I'd love to talk to you about this evening. And hopefully if there's people resonating with thinking, yes, that is me right now. I'm exhausted and I'm trying to keep it all looking great. Tell us, firstly, why do we feel that we have to do that? And secondly, yeah, how can we start to let go of that feeling of perfectionism and achievement?
It is a fabulous question. And I want to first ask how many of you struggle with this? And I want to tell you something that might just change your life. You are not a perfectionist. You're afraid. Perfectionism is born out of fear. The fear that you're not enough, the fear that someone's going to see you fail, the fear that you're going to get criticized, the fear that somebody's going to judge you. Perfectionism is a coping mechanism for feeling like you're not good enough, you're not lovable, that's what it is. And so when you understand that at the heart of perfectionism is insecurity and being afraid of judgment, and your way of coping with that is by trying to get it all right. Once you understand what's really driving it, now you've got a chance to attack it. And for those of us that are perfectionists, it probably started in childhood. And there's typically a really tight connection between this drive to achieve and the feeling of being loved and being worthy. And so, how many of you feel like when you were getting good grades or you're winning at sport or you are doing things that your caregivers or your parents or the adults around you were proud of, that's when you felt the most loved? And yes, yeah, right.
Hello.
Yeah, and of course, and society is also sort of geared that way. School is geared that way. Are you getting good grades? Are you performing? Did you make the first string? And so we start to associate naturally your self-worth and your lovability with whether or not you're succeeding and achieving. And the problem with that is it locates love and worthiness outside of you. And so perfectionism starts to happen because you just want somebody to love you. You just want somebody to say you're doing a good job. You just want somebody to say, I support you. I see you. It's enough. You're great. Like, you're not screwing this up. Like, you can start to feel how there's fear underneath all this, right? And so the really cool thing about everything we've talked about in the podcast, which you should go listen to, because our conversation on the podcast literally, and Adrian, like, we got to have somebody put a link in the comment to your podcast, because it was brilliant. It's also one of these things that when you listen to it, you're going to say, this was meant for me. I needed to hear this right now. There's a reason why you've tuned into this live stream. And the reason why is you are meant to hear what we're talking about. And so it's one thing for both Adrian and I to say, oh, you should stop being hard on yourself. Be more accepting. Let the kids go to school with their jumper on backwards. Let there be a stain on your shirt. Who gives a shit? Nobody does. Like, literally, stop beating yourself up around stupid stuff. Stop raising the bar. Stop making it harder. Stop trying to get it right. All of the perfectionism that you're engaging in is designed to either protect you from criticism or to get somebody to notice what you're doing, to get somebody to say you're doing a good job, that they love you, that they appreciate you. And I'm here to tell you, and this is what you're going to learn in this podcast, that when you start practicing this thing that I invented called the high five habit, when you start to stand before yourself every morning in front of the mirror, as you are, with the stain on your shirt and the lunches that aren't packed and the assignment at work that you haven't finished yet, and the hair that, I mean, look at my hair, for crying out loud. It looks like a bird's nest. And so, like, if you can stand, in front of the mirror like that and see somebody who's trying, see somebody who deserves support and love and celebration, and then you can raise your hand and seal it with a gesture that communicates that, what happens is your brain starts to change. You develop new neural pathways that say, oh, wait a minute. That woman in the mirror, that's a human being that I care about. That's a human being that's trying her best. That's a human being that's been put on this earth not to get it right, not to get it perfect. You're just supposed to be you. And when you allow yourself to just go through life, make mistakes, not get it right, not have the perfect outfit, not do the perfect thing, first of all, you're going to learn more. Secondly, it's way more fun, because do you know how stressful it is to worry about getting it right?
Yes, I do. And that's the thing about this, is that actually often this when we hear advice that's about, getting started is hard, or we hear advice about, doing your best. But actually, I think this is the reason I said about high achieving people. And again, by the way, I'm going to put the link, everyone that's asking for the link, it's called Power Hour Podcast, but I'm going to leave the link in my bio as soon as this live is done. So you'll be able to find it there. So it's Power Hour Podcast.
It's phenomenal, everybody. I'm actually typing it. You keep talking. I'm typing Power Hour in all caps.
Thank you, Mel. Yes, Power Hour. So a lot of the people that listen to the podcast, they are high achieving people. A lot of the guests that come onto the show, whether they are, whether they're psychologists, whether they're neuroscientists, whether they are professional athletes, a lot of the people that tune into my show for that reason, they're high performing. So they'll say, right, I'm writing my first book, or I'm running a business and I have 12 employees. Or they might say, actually I've quit my job, and the high achieving people who've achieved a lot. And it's interesting that we look to these people sometimes. I do it myself. I look to my successful friends, my successful peers, and I think, wow, they're doing it all. They've got it all. And when you have these conversations, and when you're honest and open with other women, other people, they say, I feel exactly the same. They're like, I feel exhausted too. I don't feel like I'm doing enough, because, you can always, like, say, if you sell 20,000 copies of your book, somebody else just sold 1 million copies of theirs. Or if your show has 5 million downloads, somebody else's has 10. So even the high achievers among us, which I'm sure many of you are as well listening, it always feels like you're doing your best, but it's not quite enough, and you could always do more. And I think exactly what you said, it spoke to me around, of course, when you're young and you're achieving and you get, whether it's, I'm on a 4, and all of us are kind of, I always say you have to fight to get attention. So it's like, if you're achieving and being told, well done, you did this great thing, it's definitely spoke to me around saying, actually, what happens if you stop achieving? What happens if you stop getting told, well done, you're doing a good thing. What then? And actually, I really love this idea of actually, as you described, doing that for yourself. So you're no longer looking for other people to validate and say, well done, Adrienne, but actually doing it for yourself every day, every time you need it, every week, saying, actually, you're doing your best. You know
Yeah.
you're doing your best, and that's it.
Well, and the other thing is I notice a bunch of people talking about like how comparison is soul sucking. So there is a direct tie, everybody, to like if you're somebody who's a perfectionist, you're also prone to jealousy, and you're also prone to really constantly comparing where you are compared to where everybody else is. And again, it comes from fusing your self-worth and whether or not you're lovable with what you're achieving. The car you drive, the number on the scale, the size pants you wear, how much money you have in the bank, whether or not you're married, whether or not you have kids, whether or not you live in the right neighborhood, whether you're not, your skin's the right color or your hair's the right texture. Like, we can pick ourselves apart for just about everything. And so one of the things I want you to understand is when you start to realize that your worth and being lovable is inside you. And when you start to realize that trying to chase other people or achievement as a way to prove that you're worthy of love, it is a dangerous game to get in because you constantly raise the bar on yourself. That's what happens when you start to engage in perfectionism. Again, I'm going to go back to the first thing that I said, everybody, and that is that you're not a perfectionist. You are afraid. You're afraid that you're not lovable. You're afraid that you're not worthy. And you are just driving yourself into the ground, trying to be perfect in order to prove that you are. And so one of the things that I want you to start to understand is that the high five habit is about how to teach yourself how to give the things that you need: love, empowerment, approval, acceptance, encouragement, forgiveness, how to give those things to yourself so that when you show up every day in your life, you are not driving for validation outside of yourself. So everybody in the comments, tell us, where is perfectionism running your life? Truly, what are you learning from our conversation right now? Can you see that you are anchoring your self-worth outside of you? You're saying to yourself, oh, if only I can find somebody to love me, then I'll love myself. If only I could get out of this job, then I'll love myself. Here we go. I purposely didn't shave my legs, right? Because she had this feeling that it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what somebody else thinks. Exactly. When you start to realize that it doesn't matter what you have, you can have a Range Rover and still be freaking miserable. Because if you don't know how to love yourself, you will literally just be driving a nice car while you're busy beating yourself up. You got to do the work internally, everybody. Period.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, the comments amazing. Mostly people saying, Mel, you're wonderful. Thank you for all the work that you do. Thank you for sharing. And there's something so powerful actually about the way that you articulate. I think, that's what everybody, so much love and positivity, and you help so many people. So thank you. And of course, the high five habits.
I know, it's like a tongue twister.
There we go. It's tongue twister. The high five habits.
Buy it now. I'm going to tell you, you got to ask for what you want in life. You need to buy this. It comes out in less than 2 weeks. This is the time to tell the world that this is an important topic. And by the way, when you get it, I got 4 amazing bonuses for you. So get on over to Power Hour, listen to the damn episode, get the inspiration, get the unpacking of this. If you can't afford this, no problem. Adrienne and I talk about everything, all the groundbreaking research, how to do the high five habit, what you can expect in the episode. Go listen to it and then get yourself a copy of this thing. It is coming out in the UK in less than 2 weeks. I need your support. You need this book. This is literally what you need right now. And then go to High Five Habit, register your order number, and I got 4 bonuses coming to your inbox because that's how I roll. But mostly you got to go listen to the podcast because it's incredible and it's free. It's free.
It is. It is. Thank you so much, Mel. And thanks everyone for joining.
I love you.
Comments, everything.
I love you. I love you. I love you. I love you. I love you.
Thank you, Mel. I'm going straight to my bio to add the link to the episode. So for everyone asking, that is where it will be. Thanks,
Awesome.
everyone.
Thank you for inviting me. Everybody have an amazing life. High five.
Bye. I